Welcome to the Steelers Realm Podcast. And now, here are the boys of Steelers Realm.
Man, and good evening, Steelers Nation. Y'all know what this is, man. This is Black and Blue Week. You all know this is my favorite week of the year, and I get to do it twice. Cannot tell you how jacked up I am to be here, but before I do, I want to introduce my panel of cohorts this week. I'm going to start with the hijacker. No, you know what? Forget about it. Let's go with Kitch. Say hello to the folks.
Oh, that's good to be back. Yeah. How you doing, Steeler Nation? You got anybody with us yet? Mean Green. Thanks for hopping on.
Mean Green is on and ready for the scene. Go ahead, Hitchhiker.
Yeah, what's up, man? How's it going?
Which is it? Stoner Beloner? The man with the plan?
Yeah, I'm always got the plan.
All right.
Going with the plan.
Going with the plan. Well, guys, look, we're going to keep this fast. We're going to keep it hopping. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the matchup. We're going to talk about by the numbers. We're going to talk a little bit about the ambulance report. And we're going to talk about the matchups, the trenches, the air raid, the head-to-head, who's in, who's out. But before we jump in, I want to go ahead and stop back after the game Monday night for our post-game thoughts and analysis. What are your thoughts on who we root for tonight? Okay, hijacker, tell me what kind of stoner thoughts you got going into this right now. Come on. I mean, hey guys, just so you know, we're reading off the sheet here, and this is what he's got in store for me tonight. So I'm going to throw him on the spot. Give us a little explanation here, hijacker.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think JT put that in. I forgot to take it out. I'm
So
going to
now-
blame JT.
So now you're going to blame it on JT, the man who's not even here to defend himself.
That's what you got to do. You got to blame it on who's not here. That's all of it. What do you think we did while you were gone, TA?
You just blame everything on me?
Yep.
Oh, I tell you what, that's the nice thing about the world today. The finger pointing never stops. All right, gentlemen. So let's go ahead and let's talk about the Commanders versus Steelers and how to watch.
It's the Ravens.
Wow.
I tell you what, Kitch, I might have to look at firing him. I even gave him a chance to go ahead and review all this stuff before the show, didn't I? Kitch is even in amazement. See, like, what the hell's going on? Are we even sure we're playing at Acrisure Stadium this week? I just want to know for sure.
We are, man. Don't worry about it.
We are? Okay, we're going to be at Acrisure Stadium. See, guys, I told you we're also going to have fun tonight, too. Nothing like a little ball bust and TA's
I kind of
back
forgot where
in
we
the
are
house.
still.
Where are we at? We are going to be at Acrisure Stadium for a 1 o'clock kickoff game. I'll tell you what, guys. I was a little bit depressed, man, going into last week, not knowing that we didn't have prime time. It was nice being filled with October, the month of prime time football and late night games. How did you guys feel about all that?
I don't know. I mean, I got to work Mondays, so I kind of like the early games. And also, it means I don't have to listen to Chris Collinsworth. So, I mean, I'll take it.
You'll take it? What about you, hijacker?
I'm about partying late anyway, so I don't mind.
You don't mind?
Yeah,
Well,
not at all.
I myself, man, I got a lot of things to do, so it's enjoyable to have my Sundays to get some things done. But Ian Eagle, Charles Davis, and Evan Washburn, let me tell you what they don't get to do. Anything around the house come Saturday and Sunday. Why? Because they travel around the world to give us the best play-by-play analysis and field reporting in the NFL today. And if you're listening to it on the radio, of course, it's the Steeler Radio Network with Rob King, play-by-play, Craig Wolfley, color analyst, and Mark Starks. and Missy Matthews.
Yeah, all right over there, TA.
I am getting a little fast, a little quick, a little too fast. In Ireland, Off the Ball app, download it if you're in Ireland and you're listening to us. By the way, did anybody get pumped up like I did last weekend when they were down in Monterey, Mexico? Carnell Lake, Dermani Dawson, Cordell Stewart, down there having that watch party. Did you guys see that? Did you guys get pumped up and feel good about that?
Dude, I didn't even get to watch the game, unfortunately. What little I caught was on the radio.
Man, I am so sad to be part of your life right now, kids. I feel like I'm going to town right now. All right. To our brothers down there in Mexico, thanks for cheering us on. For all those who are going to be in Pittsburgh, it's going to be 56 degrees, mostly cloudy, going up against those dirty birds, the Ravens. Steelers lead the series 35-25. Steelers actually swept the series last year 17-10. Steelers, of course, right now are 7-2. And by God, did you all notice everybody who's winding the watch back right now apologizing to the Steelers this week? Oh, I'm so sorry. I picked them to be last and they're playing the AFC North. And oh my God, I should have never done it, Russ. And oh my God, Tomlin is such a wonderful coach. How could I ever forgive him? Did anybody notice that shit and get sick to your stomach?
I'm actually pretty used to it by now. Almost every year anymore, we're projected to be last in our division. And then, like, whether it looks like we're going to or not, Tomlin ends up pulling something out of his ass and we end up second or third.
They always predict us to finish below the Browns. I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't know why analysts love the Browns so much, but, like, nope, the Browns is the Browns, man.
I don't know if they love the Browns or maybe it's just wishful thinking. You know, when you're in the
maybe they just feel bad for them.
Yeah, it's kind of like, do you guys ever watch that show on CBS, Ghost?
Nope.
You ain't never seen it? So in the basement, just to give you an idea, there's a group of ghosts down there that died of the plague, probably smallpox or cholera or whatever it was back in the day. And every time they show that, I can't help but think that those are the poor Browns down there in that basement.
Yeah, but they do it to themselves at this point. They were looking promising, and then they decided to mortgage their entire franchise for Diddy Watson.
All because they didn't like Baker Mayfield. Unbelievable. Anyways, back to the things at hand. Ravens 7-3 beat the Bengals in what was a barn burner, man, on Thursday night, 35-34. And let's face it, I could have went the other way if the Bengals could have kicked a field goal. Right now, we've got the Ravens favored coming into our house by 3.5 points. And the over and under is 47.5. Now, we already know right now that the Ravens are averaging like 31.8 points a game. Steelers are averaging roughly about 23.9 a game. I mean, if I do some quick math here, hold on, I'm taking off my shoes. I got 32 divided by 1, carry the 4 plus 6 equals 55 points is what this should be. Is anybody taking the over on this? Do anybody feel like this is going to be a 35-34 barn burner? Or are we looking at the typical 10-13 game?
I mean, I have it a little over, but I don't think both teams are getting 30 plus.
Yeah, I actually think it's going to be a probably low-scoring game because it always is. It always close game.
Not always.
Yeah,
always. Yeah, I'm going to have to say the majority of the time, you're absolutely right. It is a low-scoring game, and it's usually right there at 3 points. Always. It seems like 3 points. Very seldom is it a blowout one way or the other. All right. With that being said, let's get into the numbers with Kitch, who's got the itch to give you guys some statistics that you may or may not know about. Kitch, take it away, brother.
All right, we're going to lead with 22, and I'm not talking about the number of either starting running back. That's the amount of passing TDs allowed by the Ravens defense, who has pretty much fell off a cliff from last year. And then you got 21-16. That's Tomlin's record against the Ravens, including sweeping them last year. Here is probably the best stat out of all of them. 66.8, 870, 4, and 7. That is Lamar's stat line as a passer against the Steelers in the last 6 games he's played us. 66.8 QBR, 870 yards, 4 touchdowns, 7 picks. And that doesn't even include the fumbles. He does not play well against the Steelers. 3.4, that's the yards per carry allowed by the Ravens, which, I mean, it's not bad. It's not really good either. I mean, ideally, if you want to call yourself a good defense, you want under 3. But they have the number 1 scoring offense in the league at 31.8 points per game. Pittsburgh's climbed all the way up to 12th after the slow start.
Let's go.
23.9, which is better than we're used to.
Wait a second, we're saying a slow start? Wait a minute. Is this a group that said, hey, yo, Justin Fields, let's go? And now it's a slow start? And then is this the same group of guys? By the way, I want you to know that on Sundays, these guys that get on their little phones and they go back and forth. I'm thinking about posting this as bloopers. To listen to these guys talk during the game is like listening to a bunch of 80-year-old women cackle about their corns and how ungrateful they are, only to be ecstatic when somebody drops some Dr. Scholl's off at the end of the game.
First off, I was never like as crazy about Fields as like Freight Train was.
Yeah, I think he's referring to Freight Train and all his crazy takes.
Yeah, because like I wanted Russ to start. Like, don't get me wrong, I wanted Fields to succeed, but I feel like he's more of the long-term thing and he's not ready. And although I can't say I was that much of a fan of Russell Wilson, I still figured he would be able to read the defense better.
Well, Russ has been better than what he was with the Broncos, which is actually surprised me.
Yeah, and he honestly wasn't even horrible with the Broncos. He just got sacked a lot, so he made more mistakes than he typically would.
Actually, was he that bad, or was the defense just that bad?
Yes.
All right.
Everybody was bad in Denver. That's just part of Denver.
I didn't want to take us off the rails, but go ahead, continue. I wanted to throw in a couple little jabs. You know, we are getting ready for fight week this week, man. Against Jake Paul. I want to, it's not only black, it's black and blue all over, baby. Come on, let's go. Next.
Well, I mean, that was the numbers I had, although in the last 3 games since Russell's been the starter, Pittsburgh's points per game has climbed up pretty close to that Ravens mark. Not quite at 30.3.
No, but I mean, that is promising as a Steelers fans, guys. I mean, let's face it. That is exciting to see those kind of numbers. These are like young Ben numbers. Here's something else I want to go ahead and throw out there that I'm really anxious to see right now. I'm going to just throw a couple more numbers out there. One of them is going to be 1,000 yards. Seeing that we're going up against the number 1 rushing defense in the NFL, which is the Baltimore Ravens. Najee Harris is the only player in the NFL, guys, to register. Are you ready for this? 1,000 yards rushing in each of his last 3 years. He is the first player in the league to record 1,000 yards rushing in each of his first 3 seasons since Alfred Morris in 2012 and 14. Wow. Now, can we actually see the decline in why they don't favor the running back as much as we used to? We're talking about something we might take for granted. 1,000 yards, that's what we expect old school out of a running back. Fair enough to say?
Yeah.
All right. So I thought that was very interesting, and especially to see how this offensive line is going to hold up against their defense and open up some holes. And other than that, I am also excited to hear one other thing. Are you ready for this? Does everybody know that this game here is getting one more game closer to John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin facing each other more so than Curly Lambeau and George Halas?
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. Yeah. I mean,
I
they
forgot
both
about
have been in the league for a long time now.
So this will actually be the 36th time, and George and Curly squared off 49 times. So this is a testament to both of these franchises to exactly see what it takes in the NFL to succeed. So my hat's off to both of them. Great respect. All right. With that being said, hijacker, take it away. Tell me who's in my ambulance report, who's in the MASH unit, who's going to play, who's not going to play, who's faking it, who's nursing it, and most importantly, who do we really need to watch out for?
Yep. Are you ready for the injury report then? Yep. So we
Absolutely.
got, let's see. Okay, cool, man. So wide receiver Van Jefferson is questionable. Well, limited right now with a quadricep. And then CJ Henderson, who's on the practice squad, I think. Neck injury, did not practice. Then you got Najee, who's an ankle injury, but full participant. He went down hard last game, but it's nice to see him. He'll be back. Well, back up and running for us. Deontay Jackson with a hamstring. He's limited. I hope he's back. Always could use some good corners. Corey Trice might be back this week. He's a full participant with that hamstring injury. He was out on the IR for 4 weeks.
So let me ask you now. He was on the IR for 4 weeks. Yeah. Do you think we're really going to see him? He's only been released after his 21 days. Do you think he's going to be ready enough to go ahead and play in this game? I think they hold him back.
I think they'll ease him in probably because Cam Sutton's there right now. They can ease him in.
Yeah.
6 plays?
Yeah.
Just probably come in relief for a few reps, especially it also depends on how dinged up Dante Jackson is, his availability for the game. If he'll be playing limited snaps or if he ends up missing this game.
Yeah. And then something that came up today in practice, surprising, Jalen Warren with a back injury. Did not practice today. He was good last game. He was running left and right, making good cuts.
He actually looked like he was back to 100% last week.
Yeah. He's been injured all year, man. I just want to see him healthy. He's been good.
It's just been one of those years.
Yep. And then we might see this guy back, Nick Herbig, who looked phenomenal before he went down.
Well,
he and Highsmith are just tag team in the season. When one's healthy, the other's down. We can never have both of them at the same time.
We did for the opening week.
Well, at least we got 1 week out of both of them at the same time.
Yeah, but that's what matters.
We actually got 3, but who's counting? Go ahead.
Well, apparently you.
I am. That's my job. I got to make sure I'm delivering facts to the audience, man.
Yeah. He double checks his stats. I don't. Speaking of which, Alex Highsmith is still out with that ankle injury. It looked nasty, but it looks like he's only be out at least 2 weeks, maybe 3. And then Michael Pruitt, who's been out with that knee, he's resting, it looks like still. Did not practice. I don't know what's going on. He probably won't play. And then you want to flip to the Ravens side now. They got some injuries that could be key as well. Starting with Kyle Hamilton, who's limited with that ankle injury. If he can't go, that would be a big hit. He's been pretty good for them last year and this year, making a lot of tackles. And then another corner out for them would be Jalen Armour Davis with a knee injury. He was a full participant, so he'll probably go. But he's not a good corner, though. Their corners just suck.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, they got defensive tackle Travis Jones, limited with the ankle injury. He's a key guy up the middle. It could be a big point if Najee wants to have a big day. Him being out could be a big factor. And then tight end Isaiah Likely returning with that hamstring injury. It looks like he's a weapon to watch out that Lamar will use. And then Arthur Millette, who loves to trash talk the Steelers, who we'll get into later, is limited with a calf injury, even though he's usually cheeks in the passing game. And then defensive end Brent Urban, he's a concussion full participant. I think he's just backup, so But a guy to watch who returning from illness, Kyle Van Noy, he's a big factor on their pass rush. And yep, that's it for the injuries.
Man, I thought we'd never get through that. Thank you,
Yeah.
Hijacker. You did an excellent job. Well, hey, one other thing I want to go ahead and talk about since we're talking trash talking. And how about here it is going into Black and Blue Week, and here we've got Ravens that were ex-Steelers on one side and Ravens who are now Steelers on this side. I mean, and it's a pretty good list. I mean, you got Deontay Johnson, who we didn't think we were going to even get to see this year. And oh, by the way, Tomlin had to go ahead and add a little bit of chalkboard fodder by saying, haven't really thought too much about him. There's no video.
Other guys
on
have
him.
more. Yeah, there's more video on other guys. I mean, I don't really blame him. He's just being straightforward. It's kind of also a not so subtle jab too. So I mean, like that's just Tomlin's style.
Absolutely. I mean, but still, I'm thinking to myself, come on, Tomlin, you've been doing this for 17 years. How's come you haven't figured out that it's the ex-Steelers that usually come back and bite us in the ass sometimes? Not saying they do anything else they're with the other team, but when they play us, it's like that little extra motivating factor for whatever reason.
He's I think it's probably because he's about as afraid of Deontay Johnson making a game-winning play against us as he was, I mean, he knows Deontay Johnson. He's going to drop any important pass that comes his way. He'll catch everything else. Everything else. He might end up with 10 catches in this game, but he'll probably have like 50 yards and 3 drops, and all 3 drops being on third down.
Hey, as long as it's on third down and he gets the case of the dropsies, I'm okay with it. But
There's no case. He is the dropsies.
He is the dropsies.
Deontay dropsies.
So do you think we'll see Mr. Millette?
Yes.
I hope so.
He's limited. He's still going to want to go full go. Like, he's like, think of Arthur Millette as like the nickel corner equivalent of the jealous ex. There's a reason he hates us. He still wants to be here.
Well, and the other thing that I'm wondering is Chris Wormley, who, of course, is on their practice squad, if he may be called up this week in place of Brent Urban. It'd be interesting to see how that ends up going later on this week. And that rounds out on that side. Now, the old saying is you're not a Raven until you beat the Steelers. I just don't see those 3 making a big difference. Do you?
No.
Now, on our side of the ball, I think we've probably got the better deal of this because we already know we got Patrick Queen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Finally started to come along.
Jeremiah Moon has not done too bad of backing up or filling in for 2 of the players we talked about earlier in Highsmith and Herbig. Fair enough to say?
Yeah. What he blocked something earlier the year.
He blocked something. What do you think he blocked? Did he block some cars? Did he block a bus?
It was an extra point.
What do you think? He blocked an extra point?
Or as a field goal. I can't remember.
It was a field goal. Are you sure it was a field goal?
I don't remember, honestly.
Not sure?
Yeah, he blocked something.
He
blocked something.
He blocked something. All right, so that's pretty good. Is there anybody else that went from the Steelers to the Ravens? Do you remember or do you know?
Well, you did mention before the show Deshaun Elliott.
Deshaun Elliott. There you go. He was with the Raiders, but you want to know, or with the Raiders, the Ravens. But you want to know 2 other people that I thought was very interesting. One is our defensive coordinator, Terrell Austin. He was their secondary coach. I don't know if anybody remembers that. But the one that I thought that was really, really interesting, and quite honestly, he spent 11 years with the Ravens and has really helped our front office turn around. That's Andy Weidel, guys.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he was under the staff of former Hall of Famer Ozzie Newsome when back in 2005 and 15 when they were making the runs for the Super Bowl. So It's there's a lot of ties between these two teams in the North. So, hey guys, without further ado, let's get talking about it, man. We know who we got to watch out for. We got to watch out for a cat by the name of Lamar Jackson. Now, there's a part of me that says, why do I need to watch out for Lamar Jackson? Hell, we're even fortunate enough to actually get to see him play. And when he does play, he's 2-4 against us. Why am I going to worry about him?
I mean, I'm still not worried about Lamar. We've provided the blueprint across the league on how to stop him. It's just a matter of who has the edge guys to do it.
Yeah, we'll shut him down. Don't worry about it. Just like we did Daniels last week.
The only thing I could see making this way harder than it has any right to be is, well, the one player that makes everything way harder than it has any right to be, and that's Derrick Henry. He is running.
Scared, man.
Yeah, Derrick Henry is the part that I'm concerned about. Like, we've been getting gashed up the middle by running backs that shouldn't have been able to do it, and Derrick Henry is the best in the league. I was very upset when he became a Raven, and this is exactly why.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, we're screwed.
Well, I don't know about screwed,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
it's definitely going to be like, we're probably going to have our worst rushing defense day of the season this week.
Well, it's definitely going to be tested. And even the last week against Washington, when they started running up the middle, that's when the wheels started to seem to fall off. Or I hate to say it, it's also seen when they ran towards Cam, or even when they ran towards TJ. So I'm not sure what's going on with that front seven, but you're right. We're going to definitely have to keep Derrick Henry in check. But I think the other reason why we see that, especially against running quarterbacks, is because we're more worried about that quarterback getting out.
Yeah.
And I think the last thing they want to see is Lamar Jackson winning this on his legs and not by his arm. Even though, let's face it, guys, this might be Lamar Jackson's best passing season yet. He's second in the NFL in passing yards. This is the guy who I used to say is just no more than a running quarterback. Hell, he's making me eat my words now, boys. I might have to put out an official apology.
I still say if you would have had like Lamar play at like Michael Vick's era, Michael Vick still would have been better.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, look at the shit you're allowed to get away with as a receiver or as a QB now in comparison to what you could then. I like Lamar, if you can contain him, you can beat him.
He'll make dumb mistakes if you contain him.
He always does against us every time he plays us. The games he has won, he's barely won. You know, one of those two wins, do you know who our quarterback was for most of that game? Devlin Duck Hodges.
Oh, that's
and we. You know the only reason we lost that game? Juju fumbled in overtime on their side of the field.
Yeah, because we were on the way of winning that game. Oh, were we on our way of winning that game?
Yeah, we would have won with the Duck Man.
Well, here's something that I've also thought I'd go ahead and share too. We are one of 3 teams to beat Lamar multiple times. Us, Kansas City, and you guys want to take a wild guess of the third team that has basically kept him in check as well?
I'm going to guess the Titans.
I would go Cincy.
How about the Lonely Clowns?
What? How? What happened?
Oh, that's right. I forgot. With them losing to them earlier in the season.
Yep. So, I mean, even for Lamar's greatness, I mean, okay, some could shrug off Pittsburgh and Kansas City as 2 tough opponents. But when you also allow yourself to get beat by the Browns, man, that is something else. All right, guys. So Derrick Henry, 184 carries, 1,120 yards, 6.1 yards per carry, and 12 rushing TDs. This guy is a man amongst boys. You guys hit upon it, but what you didn't hit upon it is how are we stopping him?
We're not. We just got to slow him down.
I guess load the box and start praying.
Load
We got
the
to
box.
contain.
We got to contain.
Contain their rushing attack. Slow them down to the point where we're playing the game at our pace. That's really all we got to do. We got to slow them down.
All right. So here's one thing that I'm concerned about right now. As everybody watching the game, something happened to Queen's shoulder last week. That's not the first time we've seen him grab that shoulder this year. Is this something that we need to be concerned about here, guys? And this is the wrong week to be going up against Derrick Henry.
Yeah, Derrick might finish off that shoulder.
Yeah, I hope he's okay. We saw him grabbing at it, I think, during the game, right?
I mean, I can say personal experience trying to tackle somebody bigger than you with a shoulder injury. That shoulder is probably going to dislocate multiple times during the game.
So I hate to say it, but and I shouldn't say I hate to say it, but I think what would be in the Steelers' best interest in this game is to maybe keep Elandon Roberts up in the box.
Yes,
And
I agree with that.
And let Queen drop back a little bit and kind of shadow either Zay Flowers, maybe even Deontay, but most importantly, Mark Andrews coming into that slot, coming across the middle, maybe to help, eliminate any impactful hits that Queen might have to taking on the giant of a man in Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I definitely like that idea. Landon Roberts is just that, like, his play style, it reminds me of Vinnie Williams. Just a complete tank that can clog the hole. I mean, might hear some pretty loud cracks between him and Henry.
You're going to hear bam, bam.
So here's another thing that I was thinking about too. What would it hurt if you also went ahead and we got to see maybe a 2-5 defense and maybe even bring Tyler Makovich in there to play in the middle?
I don't trust Matejkovic that much.
You don't trust Matejkovic?
Nah.
No.
Okay. So you're saying this would be a good game to have Cole Holcomb back?
Yeah, it would.
Sure would be.
All right. Because here's the thing. When they get down in the red zone too, guys, I mean, as far as offensive goes, the Ravens have the number one red zone offense in the league right now. And as far as red zone defense, we're number 4. So it should be a pretty good matchup. You want to know who I find that is interesting that is number 1 in the red zone? You guys want to take a wild guess?
Number 1 in red zone defense?
Number 1 in red zone defense.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and this may not make sense, but I'm going to go with the Chiefs because Steve Spagnuolo.
Hijacker going once?
Yeah, I'll guess the Browns since that was the answer earlier.
No, but you're right with sticking with the Bees, baby. The Bears.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They've been carrying Caleb Williams to relevance.
Exactly. All right,
by
guys.
The way, just because I got to poke fun at Caleb Williams here, going off the rails a little bit. He was talking smack to his punter this season, saying he's not going to punt a whole lot. His punter has more punting yards than he does passing yards.
Interesting. All right, gentlemen, let's flip the ball over here to the defense. We got Kyle Van Noy, a little illness. He's probably going to have a bunch of IVs. He's going to be ready for this game. Outside linebacker. I mean, he can switch from side to side. He's got 7 sacks on the year, 9 tackles for a loss. I mean, we got to put a helmet on him.
Yeah, he's always been an incredibly underrated player. He was just kind of a cog in the machine that was Belichick's defense with the Patriots. And now that he's in another, good system, he doesn't have the best talent behind him. But Van Noy is definitely not to be overlooked.
Yeah, he's always been a sneaky good pass rusher. And I imagine he's going to be matched up against Broderick Jones, which is always a fun matchup to watch.
Wait
Well,
for the
terrifying
face
too,
mask
but
calls.
terrifying.
Hey, you guys can say what you want about Broderick Jones, but you want to know there's two things that I like about Broderick Jones and George Pickens. You know what they are?
They're feisty as hell.
They're feisty. They do not back down, and it's team first when they're out there on that field. You
Oh,
mess
yeah.
with one of their teammates, they are the first to get up there and let you know that's a no bueno in this.
Oh, no,
stadium.
they ain't going to talk.
Bro.
They're going to just body slam you. I mean, look at George Pickens on the pick last week.
Was that such a beautiful thing? I just
Ugh.
want to know what was up with the deer hopping and what can we expect this week? Anyways, we've got sidetracked. All right. The other one, though, speaking of the Bears, Roquan Smith, man.
Yeah.
You're like, he is a beast. I mean, what is he in now? Is he in like his 9th season, 10th season? Doesn't look like
been
he's
around a
slowing
while.
down. Come in 2018, right? So this is what? 4, 5, 4, 6
Roquan's
years.
still not that old.
No, 6th season. 6th season. Either way, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, he's only 27. We're going to have to put up with him for a little while.
Oh, absolutely. And then, you know, another guy that we didn't talk about either is Humphreys. Marlon always seems to be a pain in my ass.
Yeah, he was the one that full-on peanut punched Juju in the Duck Hodges game.
And he's leading the team right now with 4 interceptions.
Because he's probably their, outside of Roquan Smith, their best defensive player.
Yeah. So, I mean, even though they seem to be struggling this year defensively, they still have some players that can make it happen. Number 1 against the run, number 32 against the pass. If we're going to attack this team this year, I think it's going to have to be through the air.
Well, at least we get to play him after Russ is healthy.
We do. So, gentlemen, because we're getting right up there with it, man, what's the key to victory? What do we need to do to bring home the dub?
Well, I'm going to lead off here because I had this conversation exactly with JT at work today, and we pretty much had the same thing, and that is contain Lamar and minimize Henry. You can't erase Henry, but minimize him.
Yep, if you could stop Henry, you're gonna win the game. It's that simple.
Well, if you can stop Henry, then like I want to know like who's getting drug tested after the game.
Hey, I'm just dreaming over here, man. I'm hoping they can stop. I know that's not going to happen. It's a little unrealistic, but I can start praying here.
Really? All right. Well, first of all, I'm not too concerned about Henry. I mean, granted, every time we've seen him, we've only seen him 3 times, guys, and it has always been with Tennessee. And we've always been able to contain him. Now, I hope I'm not going to jinx myself. Hold on a second, kids. I hope I'm not going to jinx myself, but I just want to go ahead and here and go out on a limb. Derrick Henry has never, ever gotten 100 yards against us yet this year. Or, I mean, since playing with us. Has not scored 100 yards.
Look at the quarterbacks he's played with. We could easily load the box because, like, the Titans QBs have all been really bad.
TA just jinxed us, man. I'm scared now.
Well, here, I also want to go ahead and want to throw one more thing out here. Pittsburgh has held 6 opponents under 100 yards rushing this season alone and is tied for second most in the NFL.
Impressive.
Now, I know what we're seeing on Sunday doesn't necessarily equate to what I'm saying because we're all feeling that we're getting gashed for big yards. But, guys, we're 7-2. we've got and we've held 6 opponents under 100 yards rushing.
Yep, not bad at all.
Well,
Not bad at
definitely
all.
better than expected. I think the reason it seems like it's worse than it is because whenever they do gain yards on us on the ground, it's in chunks.
And you're right. It's usually a 20 or a 25 yarder that comes in a bad time that you're hoping the defense gets off the field, and then bam, here we go.
Yeah,
I couldn't agree.
When we're getting gashed like that consistently, it's almost always on the opening drive.
It is. Now,
And then we adjust and we're fine.
and it seems like the kudos also to this team of really adjusting at halftime. This team has made some great adjustments at halftime this year. So kudos to this team. So the other thing is everybody thought last week Jaden was going to run all over us. Did not happen. And when you look at what the hell is his name? Oh, yeah, that's right. Lamar. I keep forgetting that guy. He's like a nobody to me. Anyways, we usually contain him pretty well as well. So I'm feeling really good about this in the home stands. Even though at the beginning of the year, guys, I think I called this game as the loss and the one in Baltimore a win. So I'm going to take a step back and think about it and let you guys tell me what your prediction is. Because, Hijacker, I know you don't have no key to victory. Come on, speak now or forever hold your peace. This is it, brother.
Key to victory?
Key to victory, and you go right into your prediction. Let's hear it.
Okay,
Bam,
got it,
bam.
man. All right, so I think the key to victory for the Steelers is going to be we're going to have to stop, well, Henry, as you mentioned, and then also we need to take advantage of their weak passing attack, which means I'm hoping Russ will have 3 touchdowns, which will mean the Steelers put up 21 points, 21 to, let's say they get 14. So I'm going to go 21-14. I'm going to say Lamar scores a touchdown late, even though we're winning most of the game when we shut down Lamar like we have in the past.
So he makes it a little more respectable, gets that garbage time TD.
You have garbage time stats, packing them on.
Mine's
It's
a
MVP
little more exciting than that. I have us 31-24 over the Ravens, and it ends on a dropped pass by none other than Deontay Johnson.
Crystal
Jim
ball.
Jim has something similar here. 28-24 Steelers. And he has Boz hit the game winner. So he probably has some weird numbers going on here with 2-point conversions and whatnot to get us to 28, because that would just be 4 touchdowns either way. So, yeah. And he also got Randy Fuller's take on it. And he probably has the most amusing take yet. 24-21 Steelers. And it's because Russell can't let Kenny Pickett beat the Ravens if he can't.
That's some cryptic stuff, Randy. You're going to have to call in later and let us know what that means. So
I think he's saying that he doesn't want Russ to not be able to beat the Ravens if Kenny could do it.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I have a little bit different take on this. I think our key to victory is to pass to set up the run. And I think if we do that, we're going to force the Ravens into passing as well. And at the end of it, it'll be Lamar panicking and probably causing a turnover. Hopefully
or
2.
5 again.
Either or, it doesn't matter.
3 picks, 2 fumbles.
I think we are going to need to pass to win. And just throw this out there. Everybody's looking at some high scores. It's been since 2017 where both teams scored 30 points against each other. And that was a barn burner where Pittsburgh won 39-38.
I was at that game. 10
right.
through for 500.
Exactly right. So, I mean, I don't necessarily see both teams getting to 30. I will say I think they're going to go ahead and get up there, And I think what we're probably going to see something crazy like 29-27 Steelers.
I like it.
Nice. Let's go.
All right, guys. With that being said, man, it's Black and Blue Week. The only thing we can really hope for is that we come out of this game healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. Fun fact, one last thing. Historically, after teams play the Steelers or Ravens, more often than not, they lose the following week. Just out physical everybody. That's just how we've always been, both of us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, we need to take this win because the next one is going to be in Baltimore. And if I'm Tomlin, depending on how we're sitting, I might have to have the team take that game off because we have 4 days to be ready to play Kansas City Chiefs on Christmas. That is horrible for a Black and Blue game for 4 days recovery.
Yeah, that's
Not
pretty
even
much
4
a middle
days,
finger for
3
the
days
schedule
actually.
makers.
Tell me about it. It kind of reminds me of the whole COVID thing back in 2020.
Where we played 3 games in 10 days.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Do you know how many games and how many days it is this time? It's pretty close.
Oh, it is pretty damn close. It's
3
pretty
games in
close.
12 days.
Yes. It's just,
And all of them are brutal.
yeah. None of them are easy. All right, gentlemen. Final goodbyes.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, folks. With no Jim here, I'll just say careful in the hot tub.
Yep. Have a good night, man.
Steelers Nation. Can't wait to see you guys light it up Sunday afternoon. Get the towels going. DJ, 28-17 Steelers. You're right, brother. Let's go.
Check back next week into the Steelers realm.
All right, boys. Pretty good show.